there's a guy, he's actually from St. Louis. His name's John Ruhlin. He's got a book called Giftology, and he said, people will say it's the thought that counts. And he says, no. He says it's the thoughtful thought that counts.
It's the thoughtful thought that counts.
Yeah, saying thank you in a really genuine way, it's kind of a lost art because people just expect it, right? Like, I expect you to do those things. Why? Because it's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, today we are talking about a very powerful 2-letter word, thank you. Mm-hmm. We're going to start with the true or false.
Okay.
According to the New York Daily News, people say thank you on average 8 times a day.
False.
How'd you know that so fast?
I just don't think people say thank you that much.
Well, how many do you think it is?
2.
5. So not quite 8.
That's more than I thought.
Yeah, not quite 8, but not 2. People say thank you apparently on average 5 times a day.
People are not too bad.
No, not too bad at all. Especially us. I'm Liz.
I'm Tree, and welcome to Hey, Don't Do That,
where we talk about the things that nobody tells you, but have really big impacts on your motivation, effectiveness, and success. So I said we're talking about thank you.
Yes.
Today. I hang out with nice people. You do too, because you're one of them.
Yeah. Aww.
So I was talking with one of my friends, and she just went so above and beyond for one of her coworkers. So it was someone who was newer. They were probably about 3 months in, and they were getting their feet mostly wet. Mm-hmm. But this, all of a sudden, was like a really big thing. So they called my friend, and they were like, hey, I'm struggling with how to do this. Can you help? She said, of course, I can help. Yeah. So she goes down and spent about her whole afternoon helping this person. Mm-hmm. She, for the next several days, had to go reach out to people in different departments to help pull in some information. Okay. She helped put together some of the PowerPoint that was going to be for this big meeting. So she spends all this time, all this effort, and she's telling me this. And at the end, she said to me, and she didn't even say thank you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was expecting a different ending.
No, all she said was, and she didn't even say thank you. She did not complain about putting in hours of extra work.
Your friend did not.
No, she didn't complain about having to put in all this extra work, about helping her colleague. All of this extra stuff that she did for her took her away from her job. Yeah. And the only complaint she had was she didn't even say thank you. So don't forget to say thank you to people.
Yeah, so for those of us at home listening to this, have we accidentally done that? Have we accidentally forget to thank someone?
For sure. I do it all the time.
Yeah. I do think you do a good job of thanking your team, even the small, even the little things. Yeah. And even just thank you through an email, Okay,
so do you want to know something interesting that I learned? So sometimes we say thank you. Literally just those 2 words. Thank you. Mm. When you put an email that just says thank you and you send it to someone. Yeah. Over half the time, people who read it as sarcasm. Oh. So, if you do something, that I ask you to do or, that helps the business out, and I responded and all I said was thank you.
So with no exclamation point and no punctuation?
Yeah, I don't know, Tree. It didn't go that in depth. Okay. But when you just respond and say thank you, apparently over half the time, people think it's sarcasm. Okay. Thank you is one of those phrases. It's kind of like people's names a lot of times. You hear it in one ear and then it goes out the other. And then it's just gone. And it's like it didn't even register that they said thank you.
It's kind of like when it's there, you don't notice it, but when it's missing, you do. Because with your friend, if her colleagues say thank you, she would have been like, okay, yeah, it's nothing. But she didn't even the fact she didn't say it like felt like something was missing at the end.
For sure. But I think there's also like degrees of thank you. Mm-hmm. Right? You can say thank you.
Yep.
But like, do you know who else says thank you? The drive-thru worker at McDonald's. Like when you get your kids a Happy Meal or something.
Yeah.
Like
sometimes they don't even say it.
Maybe it's not all thank yous are created equal.
No.
You could say thank you, but if there's nothing like more behind it, so there's a guy, he's actually from St. Louis, his name's John Ruhlin. He's got a book called Giftology, and he said, people will say it's the thought that counts. And he says, no. He says it's the thoughtful thought that counts.
It's the thoughtful thought that counts.
Yeah. So when we say thank you to someone, like how do we do it in a thoughtful way?
Yeah.
Versus just saying thank you. Because we all get busy.
Yes.
I get it. And so it's easy to just not say it or to just say thank you. Mm-hmm. But that's when it misses the impact.
So I'm sure now you got the audience intrigued. So how do you make a thank you more thoughtful? What's one simple way to make it more thoughtful?
I think you have to ask one question before you can answer that.
Yeah.
And that's, who am I thanking? Because something that is going to be thoughtful to you is probably going to be different than, you know, if I were talking to Katie or if I were talking to a client.
Yeah.
What's thoughtful to them is different.
Mm-hmm. So consider the person that you're thanking.
Yeah.
And maybe bring some context to it. So to give your thank you some weight and some more thoughtfulness.
Now that being said, one of my favorite ways to say thank you, do you know?
No.
Handwritten notes. I realize that they're like older than dirt, but that's kind of what makes them cool again.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time you got something in the mail?
Treat.
I was totally setting you up for that. For those
did.
For those of us listening at home, watching at home, when was the last time you sent somebody a handwritten thank you, or you received a handwritten thank you? Like, not many of us don't anymore. Mm-hmm. Right? So think about the impact of that.
I have a drawer in my office where I keep cards, like that people send me.
Yeah. Like
thank you cards for things. And I will tell you, I've been in this business for almost 8 years, and the drawer's not full. Okay, the drawer's not full. So I think it, like, saying thank you in a really genuine way, it's kind of a lost art because people just expect it, right? Like, I expect you to do those things. Why? Because it's your job. That's what you're supposed to do. And so we forget that thank you matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's those little things that have big impact.
Yes.
On our motivation, success. What was the third word?
Motivation, effectiveness, and success.
Motivation, effectiveness, and success. How many languages can you say thank you in?
Not a lot. Thank you. Gracias, merci.
Yes.
Danke.
I don't know how to say it, but
danke.
Shishi. Oh, yes.
That's Chinese. I knew that.
Yes, that's good.
I don't know Vietnamese. What is it?
So Vietnamese is cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn.
Cảm ơn.
Yeah, that's good. You know way more than I do. I know shishi.
You knew French. I know.
Merci and cảm ơn and thank you.
And gracias. We knew about the same.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Why should we care about saying thank you more? Like, I'm busy, and everybody's busy, and, you know, you should just know that I value your effort. Like, why should I care about thanking people more?
I would say, one, I remember. Mm-hmm. And I don't necessarily remember the people who just said those two words to me, like, thank you. But the people who really did put a little thought into it, whether it was sending me a handwritten note, I will do a ton of training sessions. I work with people constantly, and I bet 5% of them will send me an email or they'll text me, and just say, like, thank you, that was really impactful. They'll say something they got out of it. And I think very highly of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they say that you shouldn't, if you're a team leader, you shouldn't play favorites. But you do. You do.
You can't help.
No. And the people who are grateful, who'd say thank you for things, you can't help but think more highly of them and want to work with them. So if you want people to want to work with you, say thank you.
Yeah. It has a psychological effect on us. And even if we try to be logical, we still feel those things and we feel more connected to those people. So talking about the psychological aspect of it, do you want to hear a cool study?
I love studies.
There's a study done by Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania. You might have heard of this. There's 2 groups of students who are tasked with calling alumni to fundraise.
Okay.
Have you heard of this one?
I don't know. Maybe, but keep going.
So 2 groups of students tasked with calling alumni. Have you ever got those phone calls? It says, hey, I'm calling from blah, blah, blah. You're an alumnus.
Yes.
Yeah. One group does what they're asked to do. They have the script, they call. The second group, before they go into calling, they get a pep talk from the director, showing them gratitude or thanking them for helping the school. What they found was that the second group who got thanked before they did it, they made 50% more calls than the group who just went in and do their job. So one of the lessons that that study teaches us is that a simple thank you can motivate people and increase performance.
Yeah.
And there's countless studies that says that.
The power, so if think of someone right now in your world, right, who you say, oh my gosh, I need to thank for something. A team member, a client, your boss, someone who reports to you, somebody in your personal life, I don't care. And this is a fill in the blank game, Tree, because it should be thank you, and then the important word is for. Thank you for. And then, like, you have to fill in the blank. Like, why are you thanking that person? Because that's what puts context around it. I think that's what builds meaning instead of just saying thank you. But when we tell people why we're thankful for them, then they're more likely to continue to be motivated, to continue to work hard, right? You said this study, they said thank you for, helping support the school or whatever it was. It doesn't really matter what it is. But when you say thank you for, and you put the reason, immediately becomes more meaningful. Yeah. Hands down.
That's a secret, not a secret, to influencing people.
I know, you just need a reason.
Yeah. So when you
Robert
tell
Cialdini, influence.
Yep. When you tell them what they're doing well, they're more likely to repeat it. So you want somebody to repeat a certain positive behavior, you should praise them for it.
Yeah. All right. I hope you say thank you to me after we do trivia today for these questions.
Oh my god.
Because I'm excited about them.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not setting someone up for success really, but I'm pretty sure 2 of these you're gonna have zero clue what the answer is, but I found them kind of interesting.
How
so
do
I
you
put them
find
in here.
these trivia questions?
Well, I can't tell you all of my secrets. Some things are just meant to be pondered, Tree.
Thank you for keeping it mysterious for me.
See, look at that. More meaningful than just thank you. All right, so I think that you're going to get 3 of these, though.
Oh.
I feel good about 3. 2, I'm quite sure you will not know. And if you know, I will be very surprised. Okay. But you're going to have 30 seconds to do it.
Okay.
All right. How do you say thank you in Spanish?
Gracias.
Yes. Who sings the song Thank You Next?
Ariana Grande.
The Latin root of thank is tom. What does it mean? Okay, that's one I knew you wouldn't know. Besides turkey, maybe, what was one other meat that pilgrims ate at the first Thanksgiving?
Ham.
No. World Gratitude Day is celebrated on what day each year? Okay, that was the other one. You did very good.
I got 2 out of 5.
You got 2 out of 5. So yes, gracias. Ariana Grande sings Thank You Next. This I thought was interesting. So the Latin root of the word thank is Tom.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Okay.
But it means think. And the reason is because it means, like, I will remember what you did for me. Like, I will think of what you did for me. So when you say thank you to someone, you're really saying, I'm going to remember what you did for me. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
I know. I don't know who comes up with words like that. But,
what was the other food that I missed?
Okay, so besides turkey, which is a maybe, apparently, what was one other meat that pilgrims ate at the first Thanksgiving? So acceptable answers would have been venison or seafood. Venison is deer.
Okay.
You gave me the
look.
You gave me
I
the
was like,
look.
what's venison?
Yeah, deer.
Deer. Okay.
Or seafood because they were by the ocean.
Oh, dear.
And then the last one, World Gratitude Day, is celebrated each year on September 21st, which is my sister's birthday.
Oh, which sister?
Teresa.
September 21st.
Yeah.
Isn't that when we changed the season as well? Or
yes, that's
that
the
right?
first
September?
day of fall.
First day of fall.
Yeah.
That's how I'm going to remember. First day of fall,
is
remember
also
to be thankful.
gratitude. To think of what you did for me. To remember what you did for me.
Okay.
So wherever you're at, listening to this podcast, you are thinking of someone.
Yes.
Don't put off saying thank you to them. Don't forget, but make it meaningful. Thank you for... Be thoughtful.
Yeah. In fact, we challenge you right after this episode. Send that person a text message. Call them. Maybe write handwritten notes to them. To thank them. And you will be amazed at the impact of your appreciation of that person.
We'll see you next week for another episode.